Hello Trekkies and welcome back with another character, Datafile. Well, I know it's been a long time ever since we talked about a character in this channel, but nevertheless we are back and we are talking about one of the most interesting characters in Star Trek The Next Generation, one of the most mysterious bartender, Guinan.
Drink your prune juice.
Guinan was one of the most mysterious characters in Star Trek The Next Generation. Even when we think about her life, her first appearance in Star Trek The Next Generation and her friendships, how she actually met other people from the Enterprise, it's quite complicated, quite like a bit of a timey-wimey situation there. So let's start from the beginning. Guinan born around the Earth 18th century in her home world, Eloria. Well, I presume it's called Eloria because she's an Elorian. So she born as an only child and she didn't really have a good childhood. She actually had an imaginary friend, the Tarkessian Razor Beast. Often when she was troubled, she talked to this Tarkessian Razor Beast, but by the time when she actually grew older, she talked to this beast less and less until the point when she just had this Razor Beast as a kind of a memory of some sort. She always cherished the memory, then cherished the time that they spent together, but obviously she never really talked to this beast anymore in the future. When she became a bit more mature, she actually left her home planet and she hid away from her father in Earth. She portrayed herself a really wealthy woman and called herself Madame Guinan. That was around 1839, exactly the same time when she bumped into Captain Picard, Data and the rest of the crew from the Enterprise. Well, technically that was the first time when she met Captain Picard and Data, and their friendship basically started happening from that time, that point of view, that point of the time continuum. Obviously, we got to know Guinan for the very first time in Star Trek Next Generation Season 2 episode The Child, when she first appeared in the Enterprise. And around the 22nd century she had some dealings with the Q as well. Well, we all know she and Q wasn't really pals. They basically really hated each other, and obviously when Q appeared in the Enterprise, their relationship became a bit more hostile as well.
Seems human enough to me.
I'm pretty sure that was quite painful.
This is a dangerous creature, you have no idea.
Yeah, it's better not to mess up with Guinan. Following the destruction of her home planet by the Borg in the early 23rd century, she found herself along with many refugees in the SS Lakul, where they wanted to get into the Nexus ribbon. This energy ribbon basically creates an alternative universe that you can control with your thoughts, with your mind, and you can be whoever you want and you can go wherever you want in your own timeline. You can go back, you can go further. It's a really interesting topic and we should definitely talk about one day. So she ended up in the SS Lakul with many refugees, not to mention Dr. Tolly and Soren, but they got saved by the Enterprise B. And that's where she actually met some of the original crew members.
It's going to be okay.
You'll be all right. You just need to rest. Come over here.
Guinan came aboard the Enterprise in the early 2365 for Captain Picard's special request. Well, we all know that special request will make sense a bit later, but obviously it happened already in the 18th century. So as I said, there's a little wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff there. Guinan spent most of her time aboard the Enterprise in the lounge in Time Forward, where she actually became the bartender and the self-acclaimed ship counselor. Well, she was kind of the Diana Troy over a drink sort of conversation for people, if you know what I mean. Guinan's appearance was really subtle but really memorable and powerful in every single episode when she appeared from Star Trek Next Generation Season 2 till the last time when we seen her in Star Trek Nemesis. Well, Star Trek Nemesis might be an exception because, you know, that was a really small cameo appearance in that episode. We come across with her character mostly in Time Forward, where she actually interacted with most of the crew and most of the senior staff. She didn't really just hang around in a bar and talking to people and helping people and even to listening to people, because we all know Elorians are good listeners.
The most important part about working someplace like this is the art of listening. I have some expertise, so I shall teach you.
She was not unfamiliar with phaser rifles, and she actually beaten Worf in the level 14 phaser rifle simulation.
Don't feel bad, I was doing this long before you were born.
And also, when she had to break the tension, she had a giant-ass gun under the table in Time Forward.
That was setting number 1. Anyone want to see setting number 2?
You see, I told you, better not mess up with Guinan. Because of her relationship with Captain Picard, she was interested about chess, and they actually had quite a few games together, and she was also interested about fencing that Captain Picard introduced to her. As we got to know, she wasn't really into the sport, but she just wanted to spend some more time with Captain Picard. And even though when they went fencing, she always actually made a really good point to Captain Picard when he really needed some advice.
You felt sorry for me. Look what it got you.
Guinan always had a really optimistic and uplifting thinking towards things that happened with her. In 2369, Keiko Bryan, Captain Picard, Ro Laren and herself, they actually got affected by a energy beam that made them transported back to the Enterprise in a really young age. Because of the transporter accident, Captain Picard, Keiko and Ro Laren, they being confined to their quarters to, you know, just not to do anything while we figure out what's happening. And Guinan was actually the only one who tried to make a fun and a positive outcome of the situation. Obviously, the situation between her and Ro, it changed a little bit because Ro didn't really have a good childhood, but Guinan was there to help Ro enjoy the time that she actually can have now as she became a child again.
Sure, it bothers me, but at the moment, I can't do anything about it, so I might as well enjoy it.
When Data created Lal, Guinan was there to help him as well with parenting and raising a child in a sense, and Guinan even offered a position in the bar as an assistant for Guinan to help serving customers and to help Lal to actually develop some social skills.
Father says I would learn a great deal from working with someone as old as you.
You're hired.
Over the 6 years in the Enterprise D, Guinan confronted the Borg, she had some dealings with Q, and she also gave some advices to Captain Picard and even Captain Riker when he needed some help. And Guinan was a tiny bit time sensitive as well, because she was the only one, there was something wrong with the timeline when the Enterprise ended up in an alternative universe in the episode Yesterday's Enterprise.
This isn't right.
After the destruction of the Enterprise D, we kind of lost Guinan. The next and the last time when we got to see her, it was in Riker and Deanna Troy's wedding in Planet Earth, where she was attending and having a little chat with Geordi LaForge and Worf. And also that was the time when we got to know she was actually married 23 times.
You ever think about getting married again?
No. 23 was my limit.
When it comes to friendships in Next Generation, she had a really intimate relationship with Captain Picard. And when I say intimate, I don't mean that intimate, I mean intimate. Guinan and Captain Picard shared a long-term relationship which, according to her, went beyond friendship and beyond family. Picard once even remarked that Guinan was very selective about whom she called a friend. She became really good friends with Beverly Crusher and also with Geordi LaForge. But to be honest, Geordi always went there when he had a broken heart.
I just don't get it, Guinan.
You're doing fine with me.
You're different,
No, you're different.
but I'm not trying to. That's my point.
She also had a really interesting friendship with Worf, not just because of the phaser firing range test, but she was the one actually who introduced Worf the prune juice that, as it turned out, to be a warrior's drink.
It's an earth drink. Prune juice.
Warrior's drink.
Guinan played by the fantastic and extremely talented Whoopi Goldberg. We all know her from films like Ghost and Sister Acts, just to mention a few, and she was always extremely hilarious and humorous in many ways. She was a long-time Star Trek fan from the very beginning, from the original series. When Star Trek The Next Generation started in 1987, she contacted her friend LeVar Burton to tell the executives and the showrunners that she really interested to play someone at really any small role in The Next Generation, because she really wants to be part of this franchise, part of this universe that she grew up and gave her so much hope. Obviously, that time the executives, they thought maybe she's just joking because, let's face it, she's a comedian, she might not think seriously about Star Trek. But then she obviously kept trying and trying till the time when she actually contacted Gene Roddenberry himself, and she said to Gene Roddenberry that, look, this is a fantastic thing that you're doing and I really want to be part of it. And obviously they asked her, like, why do you want to become part of Star Trek when you're already a superstar? And Whoopi Goldberg actually said that, you look, I'm a superstar, I can do whatever I want, but I really want to be part of this. Whatever the role that you can give me, I want to do this. And they gave her Guinan, and we all love Guinan, and it was a fantastic addition to Star Trek The Next Generation. The name Guinan has an interesting reference as well. She got actually her name from a 20th century bar owner, female bar owner called Texas Guinan. In terms of clothing, Guinan had a really interesting taste. She always wore colorful clothes and she always had a really big hat. Personally, I really loved Guinan and she was a really interesting and cool addition to the Next Generation. She always gave an extra flavor to the episodes and she always gave an extra punch to everything that they've been dealing with. She was always a kind and wise and really uplifting character in Star Trek The Next Generation. She was absolutely amazing and I think I can safely say that Star Trek The Next Generation wouldn't be the same without Guinan. So that was my character data file about Guinan. I'm really looking forward to hear your opinion about the character, your favorite and least favorite moments about Guinan, and obviously if you liked overall the character or you didn't, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and we have a discussion about the character as well. I'm really looking forward to reading all of your comments on this. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to receive all the geekiness every week. And until next time, live long and prosper.